Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our webcast this evening, Truly Moving Train Journeys with Rocky Mountaineer. My name is Brian Murray, the Director of Travel here at AAA, and I'm really glad you decided to join us this evening for a program on what is a spectacular vacation opportunity. I do want to let you know that you're all in listen-only mode. However, if you do have any questions during the program, please feel free to type them in the questions panel, and we'll entertain questions at the end of the program. Additionally, I wanted to let you know, as a thank you for participating this evening, we are offering $100 savings on any new 2022 Rocky Mountaineer Rockies or Canadian Rockies trip booked and deposited by the 23rd of November. That is in addition to any other promotions that are being offered by Rocky Mountaineer as well. So it's a beautiful part of the country, the Western US, Western Canada. There's a lot to learn, a lot to see tonight, and I'm delighted to welcome Tim Palmer, our Business Development Manager with Rocky Mountaineer, who is going to take us on an extraordinary trip this evening. So Tim, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll let you take it away.
Brian, I really appreciate it. I know that you're pretty fond of Rocky Mountaineer after your experience recently, but I also know that you have a tremendous group of travel professionals that can really help your members out with their future Rocky Mountaineer bookings. The folks that are members of AAA Western Central New York are definitely lucky to be part of that club, one of the better clubs that I've worked with throughout the country. So congratulations on that. But again, folks, my name is Tim Palmer, proudly represent Rocky Mountaineer. And I'm going to share a little bit with you tonight about what we have been doing in Canada for the past 31 years. And I'm also going to discuss our new route in the United States that connects Moab, Utah to Denver, Colorado. But before I go too far, let's give a little bit of history and better understanding of where Rocky Mountaineer got started. You know, our owner, Peter Armstrong, founded Rocky Mountaineer back in 1990. Our first trip was May 27th, 1990. And Peter's whole vision was connecting Vancouver, British Columbia, out to the Canadian Rockies in Alberta, specifically Banff, Lake Louise, and Jasper. And this is to be done in an all daylight travel experience. I would hate to travel on a train through this region at night and not be able to see the beautiful scenery that's outside of those windows. Now, other than phenomenal scenery, you also have a host on board Rocky Mountaineer. You have several hosts on board Rocky Mountaineer, as well as culinary teams and other people that are adhering to your every need. But the host really make or break a trip with any experience that you have. And I believe the Rocky Mountaineer hosts definitely enhance your experience overall. They're storytellers, they're fact tellers. They're also there handing out alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages. They're giving you snacks. And when it comes to the culinary experience as well, we try to capture the flavor of the region that we're traveling through. So whether it be in Canada or the United States, you'll have a little bit of the flair of that region. So you have that great onboard ambiance, definitely, and the scenery really makes a big deal. But I also think it's not overnighting on the train, you know, being able to take in the daylight experience and then utilizing a hotel at night. So for the past 31 years, we have been up in British Columbia and Alberta. You're looking at our route map right now. The white dots on this map are the locations that we overnight in a hotel while traveling by train during the day. So you can see that top route from Vancouver to Jasper has 2 white dots. Well, that means that's a 2-night stay with 3 days on the train. The blue and the maroon line are 2-day rail routes with a single night stay in a hotel. So again, the white dots, we overnight in a hotel while traveling on the train during the day. No one's going to come up to British Columbia and Alberta, though, for only 2 or 3 days on a train. So we use these train routes or the train experience as the base of a more robust itinerary. And when you get to, Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff, you see that green dotted line. Well, we're off of the train at that point, and we're now exploring by motor coach. So I'll explain that a little bit more, but first let's look at the class of service that we have on Rocky Mountaineer. In Canada, we have two class of service, the Gold Leaf class of service and Silver Leaf class of service. The Silver Leaf is a single level coach. You do have a small back door, as you can see there, and that door is half open, the top half, which is better than the bottom half, I guess, but the top half would be the part that's open while we are traveling. And you can see that door here, but the whole concept of the Silverleaf is big, open, airy. And when I say big and airy, those windows that you're looking at right there really help out. We have lots of room at our seat. The leg room is overabundance. It's actually much bigger than the Gold Leaf class of service as well. But that's because you are spending more time at your seat in Silverleaf. Since it is a single level train car, you're able to get up and about and walk around, but dining will be at your seat. And you again can see ample leg room with these folks. It's so ample that I actually have to move my seat forward, and it's as simple as a push of a button to go ahead and slide your seat forward a little bit so you can get up closer while you're dining. And then when you're not dining, you can slide that back or keep that reclined. But lots of options with that. But more importantly is the food that you're enjoying as well. You can see these folks, that's not an entree, that is definitely a dessert. So they're enjoying their 3-course lunch that we have while traveling through Canada. And then of course you have the option for Gold Leaf service. You can see the difference immediately. The Gold Leaf is an upstairs and a downstairs with a slightly more proper outdoor viewing platform. And you can see the height here. The Gold Leaf train cars are just over 18 feet tall, and the Silver Leaf train cars are just about 14.5 feet tall. So the Gold Leaf does have about 3.5 feet on the Silver Leaf train car. For the 2 or 3 days that you're on the train, your assigned seat would be in the upstairs dome. When you go downstairs, we have a single person elevator or a spiral staircase, and the downstairs is where your bathroom is, as well as the white linen tablecloth dining. Your meals in the Gold Leaf are prepared right in the galley, the kitchen there in the train car. So if you enjoy your eggs a little runny when you get the sunrise skillet, by all means, we can adhere to that request. But I really do enjoy having that outdoor viewing platform as well, both in Silver Leaf and Gold Leaf, to be able to poke your head outside, really take in that fresh air, and maybe get a little mountain spritz of dew on you as well. Always a good experience. So what do you do on board the train all day? Definitely a question I get asked often. In Canada, we're traveling a slow pace. This is kind of like a Sunday drive. If you can remember perhaps one of your last Sunday drives, you're just going at a nice pace and enjoying the sights. Well, we do the same thing, travel about 30 miles an hour, go 300 miles. That puts us on the train for about 10 hours each day. Again, ample amount of food and snacks, great scenery for those photo opportunities. Your host on board filling you in with all the great details that we're passing by, and then of course overnighting in a hotel and then getting back on the train the following day. So here's a good look at the Silverleaf class of service, that open door in the back, probably good enough for about 2 people to poke their head out each side of the door itself. This is an area we might be traveling around 30 miles an hour. When we get to a location like Hell's Gate on the Fraser River, we will slow down 3-4 miles an hour so everyone can get a nice picture as we're narrating what we're passing by as well. And the uniqueness of the region that we're traveling in, it does give me a little understanding of what we looked for in a new route when we moved on to the US. But in Canada, you have a rainforest region in Vancouver, and then you get into a semi-arid desert region. And there's just such a change in landscape when you get to this area. There's also a change in the wildlife that you're seeing, from the bighorn sheep to the different goats that frolic up in the hillside as we come around the lake outside of Kamloops. Now, Kamloops is often the location that we're overnighting. It's a great place to be about 12 hours before We get back on the train the next day. And this is a day that you would be going from Kamloops up into the high alpine of the Canadian Rockies. We're going through several mountain ranges, depending on the route you choose to take. You'll also see several rivers alongside of the train itself. And we're going to be going over trestles to be able to cross those rivers. Some of these trestles are pretty darn high. We're going to see an abundance of waterfalls as well. Now, that may change when you think of the season that you're in. Naturally, in April, this may still be frozen over. In May and June, it would be rushing. This really looks like, with that little fall foliage on the left-hand side of the screen, that it might be getting into September. So this is Pyramid Falls, a great little, well, not stop, but slow down that we do. And Pyramid Falls is one of those locations that you really can't get to other than by train. And of course, the view of Mount Robson never disappoints. This is the highest peak in the Canadian Rockies, right around the 14,000 foot mark. Now, while we're traveling on the train, all of our hosts on board are communicating. They're communicating with the conductor. And one of the things that they're looking for is wildlife. I've had a tremendous opportunity up in the Canadian Rockies traveling on the train. I think it's 9 times now. And there hasn't been a time that I was disappointed with the wildlife. Lots of black bears, of course. I've seen a moose several occasions. But whether you're in the gold leaf dining area or sitting at your seat in silverleaf, we try to say, you know, black bear on the left or a couple of deer on the right. So lots of fun being able to spot those wildlife moments. So as I mentioned, we use the train route as the base to build a more robust itinerary. So in this situation, we're using the train route Journey Through the Clouds. That's the blue line there going through Kamloops with 2 days on the train. And then you see the green dotted line. Again, the green dotted line means we're off of the train now and motor coaching. So this is a 10-day trip. You can see that in the column on the right. It's a 10-day trip with only 2 days on the train. People do get a little bit confused at times. They think they might be on the train for all 10 days. But there is no train track that runs south from Jasper down to Calgary. And another one of our top itineraries that we have, this is Journey Through the Clouds at Leisure, where the other one is First Passage to the West at Leisure. You can start in Calgary and end in Vancouver, or start in Vancouver and end in Calgary. We do go east-west or west to east. The one thing I would say about Vancouver, though, is you often see our packages only have a 1-night stay. And this is definitely a destination that I feel 2 or 3 nights is warranted. So you could make this trip an 8-day trip, add 2 nights on in Vancouver. And believe it or not, we are giving 2 nights free away right now if you book by November 30th on a trip like this. And I'll explain that a little bit more a little later. But nice way to see that. And when you're off of the train and you're now onto a motor coach, what are you going to see? Well, we're with Brewster Motor Coach for our sightseeing. They do a great job. We also have some opportunities for a rental car. As you know, rental cars have become more sought after in this world. So there's a slight demand problem. So if you are looking to drive this versus be on a motor coach, I would suggest that you make your reservation sooner than later. But majority of people are still doing the motor coach experience with us. And one of the highlights would be going to Chateau Lake Louise. Maybe you're spending 2 nights there throughout your route. And I talked about seasonality earlier, and I described that maybe Pyramid Falls would be frozen over. Well, this looks like it would be probably about July in the Canadian Rockies. You have some snow up on the high peaks there, and the ice is out of Lake Louise. Well, here is late April, going into May, and you know, this is me. You can see Chateau Lake Louise and the reflection on my glasses. They had a full ice in. The ice is not out of the lake at Lake Louise until typically June 1st. And that's because of the elevation. It's almost a mile high in elevation, and you're right in the heart of Banff National Park as well. So great opportunities here, but you have to decide, do I want my lake frozen or do I want my lake with that beautiful blue hue? Now, either way, if you want to see something frozen, all you have to do is go up to the Columbia Ice Field. This is year round. We're on the Athabasca Glacier going up in this snow coach. Those tires alone are worth $4,500 a piece. It's really a great way to explore the glacier, and the ride up alone is quite a pleasure. But you can see some people all getting out and about. I just say be wary of the blue ice. That is the slippery ice. Speaking of blue, this blue color you see, this is Moraine Lake, the Valley of the 10 Peaks. You'll get this same blue color at many of the other glacial lakes, such as Emerald Lake, Peyto Lake, and of course you saw Lake Louise. The reason that color's there is because of the glacial silt or rock flour that never quite settles in the lake itself, and when the sun hits, it reflects this beautiful blue color. Now, wildlife is going to change slightly. When you think about the fall time period, and maybe you're seeing it in your neck of the woods. I'm in Massachusetts talking to you today, and we've seen the deer out in abundance. Of course, it's the fall season, so you're getting the rut of the deers looking for their mates. And you get that same thing with the moose and the elk, especially in the Banff area. They get pretty noisy that time of year. Now, when you think of April, May, June, you now have the moms out with their babies. So different seasonality, different opportunities to see some wildlife in the region. And here's an iconic shot of Banff. If you've never been to Banff, definitely worth a night or two. And the reason I even bring up Banff in this beautiful shot is when you're on the train, you have a choice between gold leaf and silver leaf. When you're at your hotel, well, you have a choice of hotel and class of service there as well. Do you want a 3 or 4 star hotel? There's an abundance of those in the downtown Banff area. Or are you looking for more of a 5-star hotel? And you could see here, this is the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. This is an iconic property and really quite a deluxe one. If you want to be in the downtown area, this is just a little outside across the Bow River itself. So you have to make that decision. And what a difficult decision that is. Do I want to stay at the Fairmont Banff Springs or downtown? What that does mean is you're going to Banff. So it's a good thing that you have to make that decision. So folks, for the past 30 years, this is where Rocky Mountaineer has been traveling. We hope to be here for the next 30 years. We have some great opportunities to see all that British Columbia and Alberta have to offer, but we've brought that 30 years of experience to the United States with our newest route. This just launched August of 2021. Matter of fact, I think we have about 10 more days of this route going. The last departure this year is November 19th. And here is the map on this. So again, the white dot on the map, this is the location that we're going to overnight in a hotel while traveling on the train for 2 days. You can go from Moab to Denver or Denver to Moab. And the green dotted line, yet again, this means that we would be motor coaching through that area. So we do have motor coach experience between Vegas and Moab, as well as Salt Lake City and Moab. Now, I mentioned rental cars available up in Canada. We do not have that availability here, so this is all motor coach experience. And as far as your class of service, well, I was talking about the height of that gold leaf train car. The height of that gold leaf train car being just over 18 inches does not allow it to fit in the tunnels in Colorado. So while traveling between Denver and Moab, we are exclusively using our Silverleaf class of service. I like this shot because it shows you the room that you have on board. It shows you that the focus is really looking outside those windows. You have electric at your seat. You do have footrests. Those seats do recline back as well, without bugging the person behind you. And I wish airlines would figure out this technology, but it's a bucket seat essentially. And when you scoot down, you don't actually hit the people behind you. So a nice comfortable way to travel without interfering with others. And again, we're traveling nice and slow. The chassis on our train cars are very stable. So getting up and taking pictures right through our clean windows is always available. We're going to have a similar meal service depending on time of day that you're traveling, whether it be a breakfast, lunch, or dinner availability. And you have that same great host experience. So the hosts on board are telling you stories. They're handing out those alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages. I advise people to go ahead, sit back with a glass of wine in one hand, a camera in the other, listen to the stories, and take some great pictures of that region. I heard that Brian took somewhere close to 2,000 pictures when he was on the train last, but we can talk about that a little bit later. So when we're talking about Silverleaf in the United States and classes of service, there is an opportunity to upgrade, and we're calling this Silverleaf Plus. We have 7 Silverleaf train cars. 2 of those train cars have a lounge car attached to it, and it's exclusive opportunity for the people that are in that train car to use that lounge car. So, you know, on any given day, we would only have about 100 people that would have the opportunity to upgrade to the Silverleaf Plus. You have the oversized seats, you have the great bar inside. Where there's a bar, there is a bartender. They also have some additional food opportunities that are offered in the Silverleaf Plus Lounge. So again, there's 2 of them here. The white or the black, my goodness, I remember when my mother brought home a white couch. I was in the 5th grade. I thought that wasn't very smart, so I can't wait to see how durable and how much these, you know, hold up over the time period here. The black might be a little bit easier to clean, but I don't have to worry about that. I just have to let you folks enjoy the day. Now you can see all the way through here. This would be how we connect then straight onto our Silverleaf train car. There's an additional bathroom on board as well. So really having that lounge car is quite the addition. Now, Rockies to the Red Rocks. I can understand why we call it the Rockies. If you've never been out to eastern Utah, you may not be familiar with the Red Rocks, though. That hue that hits when the sun is rising or setting, just a beautiful red coloration. Now, I'm going to pick on going from Moab to Denver. But again, you can travel Denver to Moab. And this day here between Glenwood Springs and Moab, if you're traveling westbound, so you started in Denver, you got to Glenwood Springs, we do a morning departure. We leave Glenwood Springs at 7 a.m. and we get into Moab at 12:30. When we travel eastbound, going from Moab to Denver, we leave Moab at 2 in the afternoon and arrive Glenwood Springs just about 7:30 at night. So if you are a morning person, perhaps going westbound is more desirable. If you're more of a leisure person in the morning, you might want to start in Moab and end in Glenwood Springs. Either way, you get to see the beauty of the region. And this day is really all about leaving the desert behind, the uniqueness of the landscape there. As right around the Book Cliffs, we start to follow the Colorado River. It might actually be a little bit further back. And once you see that Colorado River, you really do see a change in landscape and how the communities are using this. And then it's the rock formations. So versus me just talking about it, let's see a couple of pictures. This is the train just outside of Moab. This is actually where we board the train in Moab. It's at a little siding here. And then we continue on. You'll see the rock formations that are at the foothills of the LaSalle Mountains. You can also see these formations outside of Arches National Park. As we get into Palisade, you start to see how people are utilizing the Colorado River for their benefit. You have lots of peach orchards, you have different vineyards as well, and you can really see the landscape starting to come alive as we get through those Book Cliff regions and Mount Garfield before arriving into Glenwood Springs. And what a wonderful town this is. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but Glenwood Springs started as a resort town about 140 years ago, and they've been perfecting that experience ever since. So from Glenwood Springs to Denver, again, we can go east, west, west, east. I think I've said that, but this day is all about the canyons. We are following the Colorado River all the way essentially to the Moffett Tunnel, and you really get some wonderful canyons along the way. We're seeing, a slightly different animal at times, and that animal is humans. The human interaction with the Colorado River is amazing. They are out there fishing, they're kayaking, they're whitewater rafting, lots of people hiking alongside. A lot of fun to see that human interaction as We're meandering at a nice slow pace through this beautiful countryside. All of this is Colorado today. We passed from Utah the day before. Byers Canyon, and just like pictures of the Grand Canyon or any other canyon, these pictures are not doing this justice by any means. It is amazing at times how steep the canyon walls are, what we're looking down at, what we're looking up at. Throughout this day, we're going to go through, I believe it's 32 tunnels. Some of those tunnels, are longer than others. As we get up to Winter Park, Colorado, you're now getting to the Continental Divide. We've climbed up over 9,000 feet. I think our peak elevation's right around 9,300 feet. And this is where we go through the Moffat Tunnel. This is the inside of the Moffat Tunnel. It's beautiful. If you haven't realized yet, I'm just kidding. This is just a black screen. On the back side of the Moffat Tunnel, you've been in there just over 12 minutes at this point. And we come out and we're now going to be descending into Denver. And what you're seeing here is the Gross Reservoir Dam. So the Gross Reservoir Dam is majority of the water for the eastern part of Colorado. I mentioned that we're at 9,300 feet as we go down from the Continental Divide. And in this image, you're looking at the Big Ten curve. And in the far background, you can see Denver. And Denver is known as Mile High City. So we're coming down just over 4,000 feet from the Continental Divide into Denver. And this Big Ten curve helps with the gradient. You don't want to be more than a 2% gradient as you're going down on a train. The tracks don't adhere well to the wheels if you're higher than that. So fun to see, marvel of engineering and the beautiful plateau that you're getting into as well. Now, Denver's a phenomenal city. It's easy to get around. It's very flat. There's no hills at all. It's a modern city as well. This is the Denver Art Museum. But there's a walking street, a pedestrian street, and you can see those buses right there. The 16th Street Mall is a mile long, and you have free transportation up and down the street. There's not many other cities that are doing this, but you can actually get on these buses, go all the way up and down that street. Great opportunity. And one of the culminations, one of the ends of 16th Street Mall is Union Station, and a lot of things end at Union Station. So really is the heart of Denver. A lot of our hotels are right around this area. Great opportunity for you to explore Denver independently. I mentioned Glenwood Springs and the history that Glenwood Springs has as being a resort destination. It's right on the Colorado River, but the reason it really became a resort destination was because of the hot springs that are in this area. So they use some of the Colorado River to actually cool the water that comes out of the ground. The water comes out just over 120 degrees. They cool it down to 102 degrees. Year round, you have this great hot spring pool. Nominal fee to go ahead and use it, but if you're in the area, great opportunity for you to experience this. Teddy Roosevelt, one of the people that definitely enjoyed that. Doc Holliday as well, if you're familiar with Doc Holliday, once dentist who turned to gunslinging and gambling. He spent his final days here in Glenwood Springs, hoping that the weather would cure his tuberculosis, but unfortunately it was the demise of him, and he is now buried in one of the cemeteries here in Glenwood Springs. And you can also go to his bar, although I've been there. I'm going to suggest go to another one. So Moab is a wonderful location in the eastern desert of Utah. It is a sleepy 5,000 person town. They kind of go at their own pace. If you like the Hawaii lifestyle, Moab almost has that same vibe as well. And it is the gateway to Canyonlands National Park. The view you have here is from Dead Horse Point State Park, overlooking Canyonlands itself. And that is the Colorado River yet again running right through Canyonlands. Moab is also the gateway to Arches National Park. Arches is literally right inside the town limit, basically. So great opportunity to explore and really get to know a little bit more about Moab and its surrounding area. So the way that we do our packages for this route, we can do a very simple classic package where you have a night in Moab, night in Denver with the 2 days on the train and your overnight in Glenwood Springs. And then from there, you can go and do what you wish. There is an airport in Moab, might not be all that easy to get to. The flights go from Denver or Salt Lake City. But if you wanted something very quick, you could do that. Or this could be added on to a longer trip that you're doing without Rocky Mountaineer. If you are a train enthusiast and you want more days on the train itself, this is a round trip Denver. We're going to start in Denver and end in Denver. So you'll do the train both westbound and eastbound with 3 nights in Moab in between. And we leave that as a blank canvas, so to speak, where we allow you to really create your own travel experience in Moab. There's so many different things to do. There's the RUVs, the recreational utility vehicles, where you could go dune buggying through the desert of Moab. You could go bicycling, whitewater rafting, lots of different opportunities to explore Moab. And of course, your travel professional with AAA could assist you with that. But if you do want more, if you want to be able to get all the way out to Canyonlands with a package and obviously explore Arches, but get beyond that, there are many other great national parks in Utah, one of them being Bryce National Park. Bryce has these great hoodoos, these rock formations that have been eroded over a millennia at this point. Zion has these tremendous colors, the beautiful colorations that you get while going through Zion. We have an opportunity to go down to the Grand Canyon overnight at Lake Powell. And when I show you this itinerary, it is rather intriguing the way that it maneuvers here. But this is between Las Vegas and Denver. Again, you can go from Denver to Las Vegas as well. But you're seeing tremendous amount of national parks, great little state parks as well, Monument Valley, Grand Canyon, all that it has to offer, phenomenal 8-day trip. So we talked about promotions earlier. AAA is giving a $100 discount if you book within the next 2 weeks, and Rocky Mountaineer does have some promotions. So for Canada, you're seeing that big white box on the left here. It says book a 2022 qualifying package of 8 days or more and get 4 free perks. So I mentioned that Vancouver is a crime to stay there only 1 night. We are giving 2 free hotel nights. So you could add on 2 hotel nights in Vancouver if you book by November 30th. We'll also include an airport transfer one way, as well as a dinner at a hotel. I would suggest dinner at Chateau Lake Louise. You could have that beautiful view to the right of our screen there. And as far as your AAA member benefits, when you're in Canada, you do get a $200 onboard merchandise credit. And when you're traveling on our newest route, Rockies to the Red Rocks rather, you do get a $100 off per booking. So some good opportunities to save some dollars if you're booking in the next 2 weeks with AAA's offer, and of course your member benefit. And before I do close, one thing that people are talking about and curious about is obviously health and safety protocols, curious about entry into Canada and different things. So one thing that we've done is we really looked at our health and safety protocols, and we went through them with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that we were providing a safe environment for people to travel. One that I think is most notable, I shouldn't know this information, but I know that our train car is not taking recycled air through the HVAC system. We have ionizers that are clearing out all of the air itself from any particulates, and the air is exchanged every 2.5 minutes on our train cars as well. So lots of good things there, but this is something that it's important to know that you are safe while traveling with us. So folks, I want to say thank you for your interest in Rocky Mountaineer. And you are in phenomenal hands with the good folks at AAA Western Central New York. So if you would like more information on Rocky Mountaineer, please contact your local office. And again, these are travel professionals. They have the world at their fingertips. They can sell a little bit more than Rocky Mountaineer. But Brian's going to tell you that we're definitely a good choice, at least.
Tim, thank you. What a great presentation. And I have to tell our viewers, everything that was seen is true to form. There is no manipulation of any of these photos in here. So I had the opportunity to do the Moab to Denver trip a few weeks ago. It was a great experience. The sightseeing is unbelievable, and I will say that not quite as many photos as Tim had mentioned, but one photo is more breathtaking than the next. So really great there. Tim, there is a question regarding the protocols with vaccinations. Do you require vaccinations to travel aboard Rocky Mountaineer?
So what Rocky Mountaineer has decided to do is follow the local government protocols that have been put in place. So when traveling to Canada, to fly through Canada, to travel on a train in Canada, you do need to be vaccinated. You also have to provide proof of a PCR test traveling into Canada, and then of course another COVID test when departing Canada for the United States. So there are lots of protocols that are associated with the COVID vaccine, as well as, you know, testing for your Canadian travel experience. And I do assume, even though this is November right now, I'm assuming that that's going to last all of next year as well, and perhaps into the near future. With the newest route in the United States, the CDC and the Federal Railroad Association are requiring masks be worn at all times on board, other than when you are eating or drinking. We do not require your proof of vaccination at this point to travel in the United States or travel on trains. So we're following suit with that for the time being, where you do not have to be vaccinated to travel with us in the United States. However, a mask will be asked to be worn throughout the duration of your trip.
Super, thank you for addressing that, Tim. I don't see any more questions that came in. I will again mention, certainly there are great promotions going on right now. The additional $100 is combinable with that from AAA. We have many of our advisors who have experienced the product not only in Canada, but in the United States as well. It is a bucket list trip in my mind, and I think that the United States, we've seen more and more and heard more and more of this throughout the pandemic. There is so much to see in the beauty of the United States, but true to their roots, the Canada product and the route there is absolutely spectacular as well. So please feel free to give your travel advisor a call, give us a call. We're happy to help plan that trip, and we look forward to seeing you all on Rocky Mountaineer in the future. Again, Tim, thank you so much for a great program. Thank you to our viewers tonight and participants. And as I say, we'll see you aboard Rocky Mountaineer.
Have a great night, folks. Thank you, Brian.